What's going on, everybody? Doug Lane here, Fast Lane Car Care. I know it's been a while. I've been real busy. Weird, like, I don't know if it's income taxes or what, but like business went and then oddly now it's kind of tapered off. But I think it's mainly because of weather. We had a string of like 70, 80 degree days, and then it started getting back down to like 30s as the high. So whatever. That's why I haven't posted anything for a while. It's kind of time. When you're hustling, you don't have time to explain, every little detail of things like I like to do. And then also you got to factor in the editing side, putting the stuff, the footage from the GoPro onto the laptop, editing it, splicing it all together, uploading it, caption, thumbnail, blah, 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 blah. But I've got a little bit of a different video than what I normally do. I got 5 things that you need to know before you start tinting. So let's jump on this F-150 so we can work and talk at the same time. And yeah, that's not a 150, it's a 350 or 250. I don't know. It's big, whatever it is. So the number one thing you need to know is you're not going to save money. I get this question quite a bit. Before we even get started, this is Glass Aid. You can see this right here, this white line. It's very similar to pinstripe tape. Allegedly, it's different. I don't know. Never used pinstripe for this purpose. All it does is gives us a layer of protection to cut on, so we're not cutting the glass. But then also, secondly, what it does is lets us see the border of our window. So we know exactly where to cut, and we don't have to sit here and keep moving the light around and all this stuff. So, back to our list. You're not going to save any money, okay? And what do I mean by that is, I get a handful of messages from time to time that will be like, hey, I'm wanting to get into tint. I'll get messages, and then also, obviously, we'll see stuff on Facebook, like in the tint groups and stuff. People want to tint their own windows to try to save money. Here's the thing, you're not going to. If you're only planning on doing one car, or maybe, maybe you're married or whatever, you want to do your wife's car, fiance, girlfriend, whatever, you're not going to save any money. So let's look at this tint job right here, for example. This is in carbon tint. This is GeoShield C2 carbon. It doesn't really matter about the brand or whatever. Price points. The price point of GeoShield is a little bit more expensive than other stuff, but if you're gonna use a quality film, aka not Lexan, you're not gonna save any money. So the easiest way to do this truck, if you're gonna buy one roll, would be to buy one 36-inch roll. If you're gonna do a car, kind of the same deal, 36-inch roll. So let's say $200 by the time you ship it and all that stuff. You're gonna have about $200 in one roll of film. Okay, well, you get that one roll of film, 100-foot roll, and you are still gonna have to do the work, right? And if you're new to tint, you've never tinted anything, you're probably not going to get a high quality result. Like that's just facts, right? There's a learning curve to everything. This is one of the easier vehicles to tint. If you're doing a, let's say if you want to do a full windshield, or if you were doing a car, or even a hatchback, right? Now you've got a heat shrink. You're going to waste a lot of film doing it that way, because, heat shrinking is an art form. Carbon and ceramic films, they don't shrink as easily as dyed film, so a lot of people want to get the carbon or ceramic films and do it themselves so they can save money, but like I said, you're really not going to, because you still got to do the work. You're going to waste a lot of material, on and on and on, so on and so forth. So tools. This is into number 2. I got my list there. You're gonna need more tools than you think. That's number 2. Right here's $40-ish. This is a Fusion Shorty handle and a Fusion Hybrid. Basically 2 squeegees in one. Both of these are about $20, and I'm just gonna use rough numbers because You know, I'm sure you can find a deal somewhere where something's on sale or whatever, but, you know, you're going to be prepared to spend like $40, right? That's just on one squeegee, one tool. You're going to need more than that if you plan on doing more than one car. So back to, you know, doing a sedan, something with a third brake light, or if you're going to do a full windshield, I'm going to recommend a bulldozer. I'll show you that here in just a second. As soon as I get this rolled up, just doing a little reverse roll action here. I'm not really too concerned with how tight it is or straight or any of that. I mainly just want we want it in a manageable position so we can take this inside and prep our glass the rest of the way. It's trying to get away from me there. So that's something we can do right there. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. So you already saw my Fusion Hybrid. That's 40 bucks right there. Fusion Pink Clean, that's basically another 30. I don't remember how much this is, but I think this is like 10, and that's like 10 or 12, maybe 15, I don't know. Then you're gonna need some corner tools. You know, these are usually about 5 bucks. Bulldozer, you know, 20, 30 bucks. If you don't get that, then you're definitely going to want a reach or a tail fin, side swipe. You know, it doesn't really matter, right? So, you know, you add this all up. You got your film. You got, you know, this, that, and the other. You're not going to save any money. And then, like I said, you're not saving the money. And then you're also going to get a, you know, lower quality tint job than what you could have if you just paid somebody to do it professionally. Right, and that's really, you know, the big thing. I mean, me personally, I'd rather pay $200-300 bucks and get a really nice high quality tint job that I can be proud of and be happy to look at, rather than try to save a few dollars. Now you're probably thinking, but Doug, like, what do you mean? You had to start somewhere, right? You started tinting. 100%. 100%. I started tinting essentially because I couldn't get anybody in my area to give me the time of day. I mean, it took me a month and a half to get one car tinted, and that's not because they were booked up. It's because you would call, you know, I would call and be like, hey, you know, this is the kind of car I have or whatever. I need to get it tinted. And they, you know, this is actually just the ones that would actually answer the phone. I left voicemails, very detailed, you know, this is my name, my phone number. This is what kind of vehicle I have, year, make, and model. This is how many windows it has. This is what I want. You know, back then I was very, I just wanted 20%, you know what I mean? All the way around, no big deal. So, show you this little trick right here, right? So, what I found is with a keg, if you spray this way or this way, you're gonna get a lot of trash coming down out of that headliner. So this is where the spray bottle comes in. It's much lower pressure, so we're not blowing stuff around everywhere. Now we can come back here. Our adhesive's already wet. Let's go ahead and do this. We can unroll some of this. Just kind of drop it on there, something like this. We don't want to let that touch anything. And that right there is about perfectly what we're going for. I don't want to let that really graze the top of the headliner. So I need to get that right there, so where you can bump this down. So if you're gonna do this for a living, you know, you're gonna need a lot more tools than what you originally think. Now, you know, you can be slick with it and, you know, only do jobs that you know you have the stuff for, like, you know, only do trucks. I've seen some people start out and they only do SUVs, they only front match, they don't do windshields because they don't know how to shrink or, you know, whatever. You can do that. That's the one cool thing about running your own business, you can structure it and do it however you want, really. There's nobody stopping you. You know, will you lose some customers in the beginning if you only do SUVs or you only do this? Yeah, probably, but you know, it's better to put out quality work by, you know, and take on jobs that you're comfortable with than do a crappy job and, you know, get bad reviews. So, you know, kind of the rest of this video is going to be assuming that you've made the decision that this is what you want to do, right? So we'll go back to my story. I couldn't get people to make an appointment. Like I said, man, I called and said, hey, this is what I want. This is what I have, you know, et cetera, et cetera. And like I said, most places wouldn't call me back. They wouldn't answer the phone. It's just very difficult to get an appointment. So, you know, one place said, hey, you know, we're really busy, man. Give us like 2 weeks. I said, yeah, okay, whatever. Call him back in 2 weeks. And he says, I said, hey, man, I said, you know, this is what kind of vehicle I have, blah, blah, blah. Oh, we're really busy. Give us like 2 weeks. I said, buddy, I called you 2 weeks ago and you said to give you 2 weeks then. And, oh, well, hang on. Let me get my calendar out. Let me get my calendar. I'm like, man, you know, you couldn't have done that 2 weeks ago. Like, I could have set up an appointment a month from now if that's what it, you know, would have taken. But I was a little bit upset. So, long story short, it took me a month and a half to get that car done. Between calling around and trying, you know, before I could even get an appointment. I just, you know, that's crazy to me. Well, then I got a new car, and that tinter had moved to a different county, and, you know, I wasn't really interested in driving that far to get it done because he had dust all through every single window. Like, I'd never seen that much dust before. It was pretty wild, and this guy had been tinting forever, since I was a kid. And, you know, I paid $250 to get this car done in just a color stable dyed film. And this is like 2016. So, yeah, and then for it to come out like that, I just wasn't really interested in having him do it again. So anyway, get my next car, which is my 4Runner, my current vehicle that I have. And my buddy says, hey, will you take me to this tint shop? You know, follow me over there and then give me a ride home because I got an appointment. I said, well, heck, man, how'd you get an appointment? Because this dude wouldn't even return my call or my voicemail or anything. I called 2 or 3 times. And he said, well, I just called and said this is what I had. And he said, bring it over on this day. So I was like, okay, yeah, sweet. So I'm standing in this dude's lobby. He's taking my buddy's keys and, you know, marking down on his little appointment book or whatever. And I said, hey, man. I said, how much would it cost to get a 2018 4Runner done, front 2 and a strip to match the back tint? And he just said, $150. Shut his book, walked away. He didn't want to schedule an appointment or nothing. So that kind of irritated me. Well, then I found, you know, a bunch of my friends, people I knew and stuff. They had the same issues with them. With other, you know, they couldn't get nothing done. So that told me right there that there's plenty enough room for everybody. There's obviously a gap in the marketplace. That's why I started. So I didn't get into this, no, you know, only planning on doing one vehicle. I knew that I was going to start with one vehicle, and then, you know, actually I had 3. I had 3 of my own I needed to do. But that's what made me invest, because I realized very quickly that there was more than enough work for everybody, and I didn't like the way that these other companies were running their business. You know, just not getting phone calls back. You know, I'd heard stories of, well, this person said they had a lifetime warranty, but then I had an issue with one of these windows or whatever, and then they blocked my phone number and wouldn't do anything for me, blah, blah, blah. Whoops. You know, and again, I said, well, that's just not the way I think a business should be ran. So I knew I could make it. Your area, your marketplace may be different. You know, if you got a bunch of tent shops and they're, you know, treating people right and they've got good reviews, I'm not saying you can't make it. I'm just saying it's probably going to be a lot more difficult, and you may not want to take that risk. This is an art form. It really is, and this leads me into my next point. Let's see here. You will never be perfect, and neither will your tent job. The guys that take this, and girls, but I don't really know too many women in the industry, but let's just say the people, right? Even though statistically 99% of you watching this are men, YouTube tells me that. But let's just say 99% of you are men, but let's say, you know, people in this industry that are serious and, you know, the ones that make it, they are successful. Check that out. Yeah, that's why we document this stuff. So I got pictures of that. I got pictures on the other side. As you can see, we haven't done anything but the back glass, and I've cleaned the glass. And actually, this has check engine light, so we scanned it with the code scanner. But that's here nor there. The people that make it in this industry are making it because they are trying their best every day, every job, every time. That's all you can do. You know, you're always going to be learning something new. So that's going to lead me into number 4, right? Because number 3 is you're never going to be perfect. Neither will your work. Man, I was struggling the last couple weeks. You know, number 4 is you're always going to be learning. That's something I wish I would have known before I got into window tint. You know, I kind of thought it'd be like anything else. Once you know what you're doing, you know it. But harsh reality is cars change all the time. They change the way they're built. I mean, they follow some pretty specific, you know, criteria, if you will, or whatever. But here's why I grabbed that 36-inch roll. We're going to have plenty enough. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to use about 22 inches of film off of this roll. So that's going to put us at 44 for the set of doors. If we use our 24-inch roll and we pulled, let's say, 33, that's going to put us at 66 inches. So we're saving money by doing it this way. We don't need to shrink these, so it's not going to matter. Anyway, you're always going to be learning, right? The people that are successful, I feel like, don't claim to know everything about everything. You know, you may understand the concept and you may be a master of that concept and applying it, but you know, cars change every year, systems change every year, film changes, you know, periodically. I don't know. I'm not a distributor or anything, so I don't want to say, oh yeah, you know, that's not information I truly know. So I'll just say that, like, you know, all this other stuff changes pretty frequently, so that's something that we need to be aware of. So back to kind of my story. You know, I run a keg. You guys have seen me talk about, you guys that have been on the channel for a while have seen me talk about how much I hate spray bottles and how I'd never go back to running a spray bottle. I kept having issues where I'd have a bunch of trash. Like, it didn't matter how much I cleaned. It didn't matter if I taped the seals or what. I'd get a bunch of trash, mainly where I two-stage. And it's not like necessarily right on this edge, but I might have some out here. I might have like a little trail, you know, 2 or 3 specks here or there or whatever. By International Window Film Association standards, if you stand 3 feet away from this on a sunny day and can't see it, it's good. I don't like that standard. I like to be closer to about 2 feet or so. And so that's something to think about as well. You know, what are your standards? How high are they or whatever? The higher your standards are, the better off you're going to be in the long run as far as quality and stuff goes. But what I found out, right? So I don't want to make this too big of a deal. When I'm spraying my keg in here, you know, I'm spraying out my seals. I scrub the window, spray it all down again. I squeegee the window and I squeegee all the water, you know, usually from big edge to small edge, but you know, it didn't really matter. I was trying all kinds of different things. And then I used my corner tool, push all that stuff down, push out the seals. And then what I would do, I would spray this bottom seal, push everything down, miss the window. But what I would do is I would kind of spray into the seal a little bit right here and right here. What that's doing with that keg's pressure, right? There's so much pressure, it's actually filling up that seal and then blowing trash back out. Not good, right? So you're spraying, I'll show you. Oh, my hose is attached to me. What a dodo. Something like that. I don't know if you can see it. It's kind of a bad example because floors are so deep. But what's happening is I was actually pushing stuff out. Now, it wasn't a huge deal. It was all, you know, passable. But like I said, my standards are a little bit higher than the average person's. Also, my keg is almost empty, so I'm only probably running like 30, 40 PSI instead of the 70 or 80 PSI, 90 PSI that I normally would be. So something to take into consideration too. So that's where our spray bottle came in, right? So what I tried was to test this theory. I said, okay, we're gonna prep this window. Let's go here to here, right? So we got a big chunk here, big chunk here. And then what I would do, I'd take my slip solution here and just kind of like that, right? So we still got our glass good and prepped. Right? But we're not blowing trash back out of the seals. And that proved the concept, right? That taught me something. That my technique, like, I don't know why it just kind of started happening all of a sudden. Probably maybe because I was just getting too complacent. I was getting too confident and just blasting it, right? For the most part, more wetter, more better, right? But sometimes stuff like that happens, and that'll teach you that, you know. So here's what I started doing, right? Because I hate spray bottles, I ain't gonna lie. So what I started doing, see this? I hope you guys can see this. I just started spraying it straight. Boom, right? Boom. Now this edge is wet. This edge has got slip on it, but we're not blasting it into the seal. So just that one little thing ended up making our installation process much cleaner. You know, then I started playing around with bottom loading instead of two staging. On cars like certain Honda Civics, where you don't even have to, you don't even have to pull a screw out or anything. You just pull the panel back, pull the seal out. Man, I don't know. Like, I have a hard time justifying a two-stage process when it's that easy to pull the sweep. So again, what's that say? You'll always be learning. And that's going to segue us into number 5, which is there's more than one way to do it right. Okay, bottom loading, two staging. Man, you get on these Facebook groups and you'll see some people that are all about one or the other. They'll defend that to their death. In my opinion, I've two staged for 6 years, over 6 years really. Two stage for over 6 years. And I bottom loaded now and again. And I've always said, you know, I'm not the expert on bottom loading. It's not what I'm super comfortable with, right? Can I do it? Yes. But what I decided to do when I was having all these issues, I was like, you know what? Obviously, we need to change something. Let's try something else. Let's actually put a conscious effort, right? Always learning, into what we're doing there. So let's actually try to bottom load. You know, watch some videos on bottom loading specifically. How, you know, Rodney McClure, how is he doing, right? Let's see his technique. Let's see this person's technique. Let's see that person's technique. Try it out, see if it works for you. So, really super long-winded way to say, you know, that's some of the things I wish that I would have known ahead of time, would that have stopped me from doing what I'm doing? Probably not. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's like I said, the market needed me, and I needed the market. Me personally, I was at pretty much a dead-end factory job. It was a good job, don't get me wrong. Bought me a house, bought me several cars. But I don't know. Some people are going to agree with this. Some people won't agree with this. To me, there's more than just working to make somebody else rich. Running your own business is much, much harder than just punching a clock, doing your job, and getting to go home. But essentially, you're on fixed income. And I say that because, like, we couldn't work overtime, right? Like, at one point we could, and then, you know, we got bought out, whatever, and then they said no overtime. Even when we did have overtime, it wasn't guaranteed. It wasn't like you could sign up for it. Like, there was always an abundance of work. For some of my career there, I did almost 10 years, like 9 3/4. For part of my time there, you know, production didn't even work 5 days. They worked 4 days, and then they had to start taking vacation days to offset that so they could, you know, pay their bills and stuff like that. Luckily, I was in shipping, much harder work, working in a freezer. But what that meant was there's always trucks to load, always product to sell. So my job was you know, it was safe. So that was kind of my exit plan. I found the niche. I found something I like doing. Here's how I measured these out. You're going to need about 24. I'm just going to go ahead and pull 25 just to be safe. You know, I needed the market. I needed to find something to do to where I could set my own hours, make my own schedule, and basically make as much money as I wanted to make. That being said, you know, let's say number 6 is a bonus, right? Here's something you need to know too. I see a lot of these tint schools. You know, when I started tinting 6 years ago, there really wasn't any classes, like not wide mainstream stuff that you can find now. You had to either learn it yourself or find somebody that was willing to teach you, because, you know, just you weren't just gonna walk into old Detroit Tent Studio and take a class and get a free keg and all your beginner tools and all that stuff. That's not the way it was. So a lot of these schools, a lot of these classes, you know, their claim is, hey, you know, sign up with us, take our class, you're gonna make $1,100 a day right out of school. I'm not saying that can't be done, right? Because they're like, oh, you know, use our processes and use this, use that, and, you know, blah, blah, blah. Like I said, not saying it can't be done. Don't take the class expecting that. Those are special situations, because ultimately, like in my area, right, you're in a town of 24,000 people, something like that. You need trust in the marketplace, right? If people don't know about you, they're not going to hire you, statistically speaking, right? So that's a problem. You can take tent school and you can be a phenomenal tinter, but if somebody jumps on your Facebook profile and they only see 2 or 3 cars, and, you know, you're taking low quality pictures from 25 feet away on a, you know, it doesn't really scream trust and quality. So you need to be aware of that. You need to just understand that you're probably not going to get rich tomorrow. It's going to take you some years of grinding and making decisions, and also making mistakes. You're going to make a lot of mistakes, both in running your business, more importantly, but you're also going to make mistakes in tinting. Kind of goes back to what I said earlier about, you know, the people that are successful, they hold themselves to a high standard, right? I see all the time in the tint groups especially, really poor customer interactions. You know, so-and-so wants a refund or whatever, and they handle the situation really poorly. Guys, a mistake that you make can make or break you. You know, you can handle, you know, anything. If you handle it correctly, you're going to get a customer for life. If you handle it incorrectly, you're probably going to lose that customer. And if that customer decides to make a bad review or tell all their friends and family about you or whatever, you can lose those potential customers too. So you need to really be careful about how you conduct yourself. And if you want to get serious about this, you know, you decide that, you know, maybe you've tinted a handful of cars and you see it as something that you would enjoy doing, you want to do. I encourage you to read some books, watch some podcasts, listen to podcasts, audiobooks, whatever you want to do. Take a freaking class, hire a mentor, develop yourself, guys. Window tint, I promise you this. Tinting the window is the easiest part of your business. That's the easiest part of your day right here. Me in the garage by myself, putting black stickers on glass. That's the easiest part. Managing the schedule, managing the phone calls, the social media, the website, the taxes, like doing all the other stuff will make or break your business. You can be the best tinter in the world. You could be Jesus himself with a heat gun. But if you're not marketing yourself properly, you know, or worse, you're not marketing at all, you're just relying on friends and family or whatever to spread the word about you, hate to tell you this, you ain't gonna last. You're not gonna grow. There is a method to the madness. You need to be doing certain things, like, you know, posting on social media. Now, you know, what form is best? Well, that depends. That depends on you, really. I've always had great success just posting my stuff on Facebook. I don't run ads. I don't run sponsored posts. I don't, on Google, Facebook, nothing. I don't do any, I don't pay anybody to promote my stuff. Have I done it in the past? Yes. When I first started, I did a lot of research on, you know, what ads work the best, how to run a successful ad campaign. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's better to hire somebody like the Tint Mob that has proven strategies that can take your business to the next level, rather than trying to learn it and do it all yourself. We serious here? Oh, well, this is one of the struggles here of tint. Locking yourself out of the car. But, yeah, I mean, this ain't easy, guys. Running any business is not easy. I promise you, doing the work, no matter what business you run, doing the work is the easiest part. It's everything else that really, you know, makes or breaks you. So, on these, you don't have to use the Sharpie method. I'm choosing to because I can. And I'll Sharpie the outside layer, but the problem is the way I set these up, that's actually going to be the inside of my tint. Like, that's going to be the inside of the passenger door. Which, no big deal. You can get the Sharpie off the tint with some glass cleaner, but what does happen, especially on white vehicles, what you end up doing, right? So this is our passenger side pattern. Let's say we drew Sharpie on here so we could see our lines and all that. We spray this down, we take it over there, hang it up. We're going to get Sharpie on the paint. And it's way harder to get Sharpie off of this white paint, especially, than it is to wipe it off, get it off with glass cleaner or whatever off of the tint itself. But that is why I just Sharpied what's going to be our driver side patterns, right? Sharpie those, And then that way, theoretically, we'll still be able to see our Sharpie line. It might be a little bit difficult. You guys might not be able to see it on camera, but we should be able to do that. See where we need to cut. It'll be on the release liner, so we won't have to worry about it touching the paint. We won't have to worry about getting it off the tint itself. But there you guys have it. That is 5 plus 1 bonus, 6 tips, tricks, little bits of information that I wish I would have known. And you need to know. You guys need to know it before you start ordering shit online, wanting to save yourself some money. Or before you start your tent business. Kind of one and the same there. Let me know if you like this style video. I know statistically, from the analytics and everything Google provides, most of you are people that are starting out. You're either getting ready to get into tent, or maybe you've done your own car or whatever. So that's why I figured I'd make something like this, something a little bit different, not really a how-to. The how-tos just take too long. I'd rather just kind of talk while I'm working. See, it's 11 o'clock. We'll be done by noon 30 with this. We're gonna do a windshield strip, hand cut. Maybe I'll bring you back, show you how to take this mirror off. One of the ways I'm gonna do it. I wish it was a double spring style, because I have a tool that I need to make a video on. However, of course, I have the tool. Told the guy that I would make a video for him, even though, you know, I paid it. He didn't ask me to make one, but I thought it was a really sweet tool and he deserved it. And then, sure enough, I never see those style rear view mirrors since. I had like 2. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. See you on the next one.